It is a beautiful sunny day today. First sunny day in a couple of weeks. Let's see if we can get a nice view. Some clouds, but oh man, the mountain is looking beautiful today. And honestly, I haven't been feeling very well this last couple of weeks. And I've been trying to eat healthier. I needed to go grocery shopping, and so I had been eating kind of whatever was left over, and it was a lot of simple carbs, and I wasn't getting as much vitamins as I would have liked. I think that was one of the main contributing factors. And so I've been trying to, this past week, eat more fruits and vegetables. When shopping, got some cucumbers. I got more oranges from my neighbor, and I've been eating a few oranges a day. Great source of potassium and vitamin C. But one of the things I think I've been missing is vitamin D. And some of you may know or may not that for most of us, the main source of vitamin D is actually the sun. It's not your diet. It is your behavior and getting outside in the sunlight. And since it's been so rainy, I haven't been able to get much sunlight. Every day, if I see the sun shining for 10-15 minutes, I try to just go outside and bask in it. It seems strange might seem strange to some of you for a redhead to sunbathe in the tropics, but you know, there's not that much sun here in Panama in the rainy season. It's the height of the rainy season right now, and 15 minutes a day of good sunlight really it does wonders for your vitamin D levels, which is very important for your immune system. And I'm feeling much better now after beginning this. Something stung me, sorry. At the beginning this sunbathing routine and upping my natural vitamin intake, I'm feeling much better. And I want to tie this into some of the stuff I've been reading. I've been memeing a lot and researching and posting a lot about COVID and different treatments. And a lot of what I've been reading has to do with not just comorbidities. Everyone knows about comorbidities like age, well, being old. It's not really a morbidity, but 1,000-fold greater risk for 80-year-old than for me. But obesity is a really big factor. And low vitamin D levels are a really big factor. Asthma, for instance. But specifically, I want to talk about vitamin D. I saw some interesting... wow, it's gorgeous. Well, I'm going to show you the landscape while I talk. I saw some interesting charts and a study about Africa and Ivermectin. I hope I'm saying that right. And from what I read, I've seen a lot of interesting studies about this drug, Ivermectin, and taken as a prophylactic or as an early treatment for a COVID case. And one of the main arguments for it seems to be that it helps with vitamin D uptake, from what I understand. It's also just antiviral. It has been documented to have antiviral properties against the flu, different types of HIV, against many viruses. And what's specifically interesting, and what the Japanese health minister quoted when recommending Japan to begin using ivermectin for COVID treatments, was how effective it had been in Africa. And I shared a chart on social media of African countries and the COVID cases in each country, comparing those countries that use ivermectin and those that don't. And it's commonly used in about half or 2/3 of African countries for an anti-parasite medicine. And so there was probably about a 10-fold, one order of magnitude difference in the number of cases and number of deaths in the African countries that used ivermectin or had it available, and those that didn't. And obviously people get enough sunlight in Africa. But it was interesting also that it was grouped around the center of Africa. It was all these countries. So in the very tip of southern Africa, they didn't use ivermectin, and obviously they get less sunlight. And in the very northern part of Africa, they don't use ivermectin, although they still get a good amount of sunlight. And those are the two areas that have the highest COVID cases and COVID morbidity. Whereas the center of Africa, from say Nigeria down through Tanzania, I think Tanzania, well, down through to whatever country is just north of South Africa, these countries used ivermectin and had very low COVID morbidity in cases. So I thought that was interesting, and I shared it. I got this from Dr. Robert Malone's Twitter, and he shared later another conflicting or a more detailed to add to the story, which is that the obesity rate in these same countries is also significantly lower. And so Africa's got about 1 billion people, and this is a grand experiment that or data set, not an intentional experiment, that is really interesting information. I don't think anybody questions the actual numbers coming out of these countries, that half the African countries have a tenth as much COVID problems as others. And people are trying to figure out why. Is it the obesity rate? Is it the use of ivermectin? Is it a combination? People getting outside, exercising, absorbing vitamin D, maybe using ivermectin to help with the vitamin D uptake, which I need to confirm, but that's my understanding of one of the things that it does. And it's interesting. It's very interesting that these countries have such a low rate, such a small problem with COVID. And I got attacked a lot for posting these things. It's like, oh, ivermectin is not approved, and the government says don't take it. That's livestock medicine, things like that. And I don't know. I didn't take ivermectin, but I try to stay fit. I try to go outside and get vitamin D, the other vitamins that your body needs to keep your immune system functioning. And really, that's my main takeaway from all of this research that I've done, not just about COVID, but about other illnesses, is that the best thing you can do is stay healthy and keep your immune system healthy. And it's amazing to me how not only is the mainstream advice, the media and the government advice, suppressing this information, but the policies they're advocating, for instance, lockdowns, are harmful in this regard. For instance, here in Panama, there were times, weeks at a time, when people were not allowed to go outside at all. And you could not, the parks were all closed down. I know in other countries, for instance, England, the parks were open, they gave people an hour a day or something, which who knows if that's enough time to get vitamin D in cloudy England. But in Panama, they stopped people from going outside to the park, which clearly is going to stop them from getting vitamin D. And so that's just generally weakening their immune system. Another thing that is a comorbidity for COVID is anxiety, and they're panicking people. So stay home, don't get outside, don't get any sunlight, don't get vitamin D, and panic. be very anxious, and it makes people sick. You know, this environment, these policies make people sick generally. Not even COVID specific. You know, that this sort of set of policies is going to ensure that people get the flu. They're going to get colds, so on. Like I've been feeling ill recently, or you know, not so healthy, and I'm sure I didn't get COVID again, but I just haven't been outside as much. It's been rainy. I haven't been eating as well because I need to go shopping, and my body was telling me that this was not a healthy lifestyle. So you know, I'm not saying take ivermectin. I don't know. I think it's really interesting, and I think that the government is not giving it a fair treatment, at least in the United States. In Japan, for instance, they are. But you know, if you're concerned about your health, then the first thing you should do is ensure that you have a healthy lifestyle. Ensure that you get outside and get sunlight every day. Ensure that you're eating fresh fruits and vegetables, and also meats and animal products that will give you all the proteins and vitamins and minerals that you need. Processed foods, whether it's pasta or white rice or sausages and processed meats, are not very healthy. They're not nearly as vitamin rich, and even when they have vitamins, it's harder for your body to take them up. If it's fortified with this vitamin or that vitamin, that doesn't necessarily mean that your body's actually going to absorb it as well as it would from a natural whole food. And you know, since I've been more conscious of these things myself, I've been feeling much better, and I've been healthier. I've been sick much less. Just for simple things like going outside and getting sunlight every day, ensuring that I get some fruits and so on. And I just want to share this data and encourage everyone, before you start injecting yourself with things and telling your neighbors to inject things like that, and voting for government mandates on injections and industrial chemical medicine, why don't we encourage people to go outside and get some fucking exercise? You know, eat an orange, go out in the sunlight, and play a sport, go for a run. And you know, we might have 1/10, 1/100th the COVID cases. For instance, compare Israel. Israel has about 100 times as many COVID cases and deaths as these sub-Saharan African countries. I don't know why. I think it's a really interesting question. You know, Israel is basically the most vaccinated country on earth. And, you know, these African countries, these are some of the poorest countries on earth. I'm sure that they don't have a high vaccination rate. And yet, the African countries are doing much, much better than Israel. And, you know, it's an interesting question to ask why. Is it obesity? Is it ivermectin? Is it different diet? More fruits and things like that? I'm not sure, but I think it's ridiculous to tell everybody to stay inside and get an injection when, you know, there's 1 billion people that don't have a problem who are doing something completely different. So, you know, just get outside. That's all I gotta say. Get outside and eat some fruit, and stop telling me and everyone else to get vaccinated.